I know why you're all here. I'm Sonia. Again, it's all my fault.
Hi, Sonia.
You all know me, I know. And I am so pleased to introduce our guest today and interview her for you. You all know who she is. She is Luz Noceda of the Owl House. She's many other things, and you're going to learn all about that today. I'd like to introduce you, Sarah-Nicole Robles.
Is this on?
Yeah.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
it's on.
Maybe turn it up a little. You can hear okay? Okay.
Yeah, can you guys hear us?
Yeah.
Hey. I was right next to it.
I don't know. Okay. Anyhow, I love your Porta Hoot. Very cute. You see a little king over there too. What's up? Thank you all for coming. You survived day one.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, did everyone get like 16 minutes of sleep? You're all well rested. I know I didn't, yeah.
So, and just so you know, folks, Sarah-Nicole likes to go by Nikki, so I'll call her Nikki through the interview. Besides, it's a little,
It's long, it's a mouthful.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why.
So I understand that, it's not without, it's not a coincidence that you're here at PonyCon, because you're a bit of a fan, aren't you?
Oh yes, and I felt really stupid when I got here. I didn't bring like any of my Owl House swag, but then I was like, oh my god, I'm going to a BonyCon. I didn't bring my Rainbow Dash onesie. My Rainbow Dash. I didn't bring my mini Rainbow Dash. It's like I don't know. I panic packed. I was like trying to be a minimalist. Just now I was wearing around the house again.
So I'm guessing that you like Best Pony as Fluttershy, or...
How dare. How dare you.
Anyway. So tell us a little bit about you. Where were you born, Sarah-Nicole? Nikki?
I am a Jersey girl, yeah.
Ooh.
And of Puerto Rican descent, yes?
Yes, I am 100% Puerto Rican. Yeah. So,
So how
I
was
actually made a rug. This is Whip, and I have it in my house.
So what was that like growing up in Jersey as a Puerto Rican girl?
It's funny, when I moved out here, I'm like, I live in LA. When I moved to LA, there's like 6 Puerto Rican people and we all know each other. There's like none. In New Jersey, like everyone, there's like, in New Jersey, New York, there's so many Puerto Ricans. So it was like kind of a culture shock coming out here because I was just like used to, seeing other Boricuas and Dominicans and everything. Yeah, I definitely was like, well, you guys might have seen the show The Owl House. The first thing I liked about it, it's funny, I'm very optimistic, but I also am like very realistic. So when I got the script, I was like, no one's gonna pick this up. It's about a brown nerd. This is never gonna go anywhere. It's super good, but when has that mattered, But I was like so excited about Luz, because I was like, that's me. I'm a brown nerd, and like, for some reason people couldn't wrap their brains around that. Like, they think, Hispanic people were just like Chiquita Banana, were out there like doing salsa moves.
So wait, I guess we needed to think inside the box, is that the...
Yes.
So, okay, was Luz tailored for you? How much of you was put into Luz in the first place?
Like nothing. She came
really?
perfect. Truly, it's so weird. I was so weird growing up. My mom, I had no friends. I did not fit in school. Yeah. And my mom used to tell me don't worry, honey, they just don't understand your humor. You'll have friends one day. And I was like, I don't think I will, based on how things have gone. So I just super sympathize, empathize, see Luz, but I don't write any of Luz's lines. I don't think I've ever improvised a single line. The whole team, it's like, I just met her. It's so surreal. She is me, and even my own best friend, she's known me since I was 6 years old. Sometimes she's like, oh my God, Sarah, you said that line, right? You chose that one, you wrote that. And I was like, no girl, they did. She's like, no way, you say that all the time. And I was like, I know, it's they're in my head. And I think that's what happens with good casting, when you are really auditioning the right talent, you find the right people. It's not just about being a good actor, it's about finding someone that this could be authentic for. So it might not be my exact personality, but it's definitely parts of my personality that are there.
So it's like Dana Terrace and the other writers are in your head a lot of the time.
Truly, and I think that's why we're all like such good friends and we get along, because like this is the person they created, but it's also me, you know? So I think we have like a lot in common. Also, we're all pretty similar in age, which I think gives us all like a similar background of like humor and cartoons. So we're all kind of like, a lot of us are reaching from the same resources, even though our team is very international. We have a lot of the same like inspirations from our childhood that we're working from.
Well, like what? Tell us some of these inspirations.
Okay, Sailor Moon.
Woo!
I know for Dana, like Little Witch Academia is a big one. Yeah, we're open fans. For me personally, like I think this show is like this generation's like Rocco's Modern Life. You know? It's like doing a little too much and like maybe a little scary and a little tragic, but it's my favorite kids show. You know, like when I was that age. Yeah, or like All Real Monsters. You know, like the dude holding his eyeballs.
Oh my God.
Spooky, but like kids get that. Like it just speaks. I love that because like our show, Dana's really big about like not talking down to kids. So our age range starts at 6 years old, and you wouldn't believe that. Like they get this, you know, like.
Well, I mean, and that's that's a lot of why, for example, Owl House.
Eyes are gonna be popping. You just turned up that light. Have my highlighter on.
Well, that's why Owl House has this wonderful appeal to adults as well, much like what Lauren Faust did with My Little Pony. And I remember that they interviewed her like right around the beginning of it, and she said that she wanted to do a show for young people that the parents watching with them wouldn't want to shoot themselves in the head. I believe
Yes.
And Owl House is very much in that vein. But what Owl House brings that I think is hugely important is a lot of great representation, some of the best I've ever seen in a show aimed at younger kids. You mentioned, show about a brown nerd. We've got a lot of queer representation. We've got NB representation. Talk about how that's important to you, and and have the fans responded to it that you've seen.
Yeah. So again, I think I think we're all weirdos. That's why we get along.
Yep.
But like I said, when I got this audition, when I got the pilot, I was like, "There's no way this is gonna go anywhere."
Wow.
They never, it always ends up being someone else or something. So when it really happened, it was like so surreal. I just kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it to not happen. And I knew how proud I was of this in a way that like I'm I love all my other work, but this is so special. And I knew like other kids like me would get to see this. Like, this is a cartoon I wish I had growing up. I wish I had seen anyone who looked like me, anyone who was Hispanic and American. Like, people really can't understand that, like, all of us have multiple identities, and that's what makes us us. And so seeing that all accepted was so important for me. And now when I go, so we kind of had this weird, the pandemonium happened. And so we didn't really get to meet and interact with our fans until like kind of recently, like these things started happening again. And the things that people say to me, like, I can't tell you how many times, like, y'all have made me cry, and me and the team, like, it was important to us because it was our baby, but now that we see how important it is to everyone else, like, it really feels like such a privilege, and I'm so grateful that what speaks to us and our souls like resonates with everyone else. It's like really being seen.
Well, and I think not only that, but I think it's also important that as entertainment becomes more diverse across all age ranges, we're getting this wonderful phenomenon of people who are in the majority and catered to white people, cis people, het people, and I'm not disparaging anybody,
No.
but they're finally getting the chance to identify with people of different races, different sexualities, different genders, orientations, what have you, and that's wonderful because it's always been on people of color and queer people and whatever to identify with the white cis het
And
folks.
teach
And it's
them
not
about
like
us.
it's not like we didn't like these wonderful movies and shows, but now there's shows that allow this wonderful insight into other people, and you can like identify with these universal experiences and themes. I know that I see a lot of my younger self in both Luz and Amity, and I definitely, as an old crotchety woman, see a lot of Ida. So, I mean, have you had any of that experience as well from, fans who are, appreciating expanding themselves to accommodate your characters? Is that something you feel you can speak to?
Yeah, I mean, this room isn't just like Puerto Rican women, so like that says enough, like that so many people feel seen and identify with Luz, despite gender, sexuality, age, ethnicity. It's funny, a lot of people are like, would you be friends with Luz? And I was like, I don't hang out with 14-year-olds.
Well, what about 14-year-old you?
Yeah, would 14-year-old me be friends with Luz?
Absolutely. Would she?
Yeah, but I would be really shy. Like, I would be like, you want to be my friend? Oh, okay, we can be friends. Yeah, so I wasn't like Luz, like so confident.
Okay, so you had mentioned to me earlier when we were talking that there had to be a lot of there had to be a fight to get as much representation with Luz and Amity, like getting the kiss in there and stuff like that. Can you tell us more about that, like behind the scenes?
I wasn't me, first of all, but yeah, Dana fought really hard to make sure things were clear and spelled out and not like, kind of brushed over to Disneyfy things and that kind of thing. Like, she wanted to kind of prove to people that, like, this is a normal Disney show, like, just because there's queer people doesn't make it suddenly, like, taboo, despite what's happening in the world today. She really just wanted a real representation, and our team, like, every identity that we represent on that show, like, that's a member of our team. It's all authentic. That's why it resonates like that, and that's why it was so important to all of us for it to be real, because it's not a token, None of this is like about being like, oh, look, she checks all the boxes,
Yeah, I think we've all seen, flowchart representation.
Yeah, or like the queer female person of color best friend, who's just like, here, this is all representation for the rest of this movie.
Well, exactly, or the ambiguous queer coding and queer baiting.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Like, if you want it, you gotta give it too,
Well, exactly. Now, you are, comparatively new in the voice acting scene.
Totally, yeah.
So, how did you get there?
Yeah. Everyone's got like a very different journey, but I used to like singing and performing when I was a kid. I would do like choir. I did some like musicals at my church, and then when it was time to go to college, I didn't want to go to any more Catholic school because I hated it. So much. And it actually wasn't like the religion stuff. I like that. It was the people. Like, it was an all-girls school, and I was like, they're gonna eat me alive. It was so much meaner without the boys around. And they were. I didn't want to do that. So the only other school that was like academically as good was this magnet school. And that's actually where I met my husband.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you met him very
High school
early on.
sweethearts, yeah. I met him when I was 14. But I wanted to go to the school, and you have like majors, and I was like, wow, I'm not good at enough at like business or medical or engineering. So like, I was like, I'll try theater. I can't draw. So I was like, I like movies, so that's fine. And my parents were like, this girl has never acted. She's not gonna get into the school. So they like prepared a whole like consolation evening after my audition because they're like, there's no way she's getting in. And when I came out and told them, I was like, yeah, I got in. They were like, what? We saw your audition. It wasn't that good. But what do they know? So I got in, and then once I really started acting, I was like, oh, this is fun. I actually do like this. I love reading. I love reading scripts. I love, getting to like break down characters, figure out stories. And I love, kind of like pretending to be like stepping foot into these people's lives and their experiences. So then I got a BFA at Carnegie Mellon for acting.
Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's a little school in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I've heard it was like my high school, you know, it was really intense, like boot camp, but that's what I wanted, you know, I wanted to work hard and hit the ground running. And then I got so lucky that a representative from Disney was at my showcase out here in Los Angeles, and I met with them, and I did like a kind of a general audition. So they gave me like every character from Gravity Falls, and I had to audition as all of them. And it's not that they were gonna cast me, it was like they wanted to kind of hear my range and have me on like in their files for later stuff. And yeah, then it's just kind of like acting is like planting seeds. So even if you don't get a role, or even if it's tiny, you just want to like leave a good impression or leave a good taste in people's mouth. So then, you know, next time, if you are right for something, they'll remember you.
Classic example of not necessarily what you know, but who you know, or in this case, both.
Yeah, it just takes time. Yeah, it's time. You're always, as I was like, when I had 16 jobs and I was super broke, I was like, I'm planting the seeds. I think it's a slow, incremental journey.
So as those seeds started to germinate,
Yeah.
tell us what happened next.
Like my first job.
Yeah.
Oh, my first job was weird. It was a voice match for Rihanna.
Really?
Yeah, I was in like my parents' house listening to like interviews with Rihanna and trying to learn her accent. And this is another example, like, what is my family now? I showed it to my husband. He's like, oh, babe, you're not booking that. You don't sound anything like Rihanna. And I did, and Rihanna herself approved me. So I did some voice matching for her.
Wow.
For like promos for, you know, that movie Home?
Ah, yes.
With the boobs. Yeah, so she was like busy. I think she was on tour, so she couldn't do like some of the ADR for that. So I did that.
Oh, some folks here might not understand ADR. Tell them a little bit.
Oh, ADR is, so you do it for like on camera and animation, but it's just kind of like, so you do your first pass at the script, then they animate it, and then sometimes in animation moments change, or the line changes, or there was a weird sound they realized after they record it, so you kind of go back in and you match like the flapping of the lips in timing. So there's usually 2 sessions. Well, there's always, I've never not had ADR. There's usually 2 sessions for every episode.
See, this is why voice acting is hard, folks.
Yeah, ADR is an art. It takes, because they kind of like, you know, like when you're playing Dance Dance Revolution, right? TDR. You know how like, it's like you have to like time it on the screen, you know, like, and you're like waiting for it, you see it coming. And ADR, they'll give you like these beeps, so it's like beep, 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 and then, you know, like the third one you go, but it's, you don't go on the beep, you go like a second, and so like learning that timing, it takes a second. Some people are very good at it though.
So, okay, so you voice matched Rihanna.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I think my first thing was Star Darlings. I was Scarlett in Star Darlings, if any of you are familiar.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, and refresh my memory. Who was the developer and showrunner on Star?
Amy
Keating Rogers.
Rogers.
Yes.
I think folks here might know Amy Keating Rogers.
Yeah, you might be
why is that
familiar.
familiar?
So yeah, that was my first, and it was like a Disney internet show.
And what else have you done?
Ooh, I've done some things. I was on Billy Dilly's Subterranean Adventure on Nickelodeon. I did the scratch for Moana and for Encanto.
Wait.
I knew it.
Scratch, you say?
Yes.
Tell us about Scratch.
Sure. So feature animation, like movies, is a different process. So they basically do like rough drafts of the movie. That's why it takes like 5 years. So they animate them and everything. And so during that time, like for example, if your lead is Rihanna, you can't have Rihanna in the studio for 5 hours, you know, 6 days a week. You can't. Or like, and you can't have her for 5 years, like she's busy. So they have actors come in to like work with the team and help develop the character. So I was Moana for all those rough drafts, and for Moana it was really important that they wanted like real Polynesian representation throughout the film. So it took a while to find, you know, it's not only someone who has the acting essence, but someone who also like could honor that identity. So I worked on Moana for a couple of years, acting, and
Very cool.
oh yeah, and I had like my long curly hair down to my butt, So they recorded my hair to figure out how to like tie up Maui's hair. So that was fun.
No way, really?
Yeah, that's my little. When I fought, I was part of the team trying to get Moana a mom. She didn't have a mom in the beginning.
Have you done more of this?
Yes, I did Mirabelle too for Encanto. Yeah, I love doing Scratch. It's so fun because you're getting to like play with the character and like find those moments.
Now I'm just wondering if Stephanie Beatrice was imitating you a little bit.
Oh, no, she definitely didn't need me. She's so awesome.
She's crazy, yeah, she's amazing.
Very talented. Endlessly talented.
So you're working Scratch, you're building great relationships with Disney.
Yeah.
And
we did Boss Baby 2 at DreamWorks. That was
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So what happens next?
Oh, I did Scratch on Cars 3 too. That was my one time at Pixar.
Okay.
That was a crazy day, man. I flew in that morning. It was like this many pages of lines. And
Jesus.
for Scratch, you don't get to see the script in advance. So it's like all cold reading. Because everything's so top secret, they don't usually like tell you anything. And so you'll be in the room and they're like, okay, so you're a caterpillar who talks and you're underwater and your friend's a fig tree. And like, you guys are falling down a tunnel. And you're like, yeah, okay, of course, obviously. Yeah, like let's figure that out.
Like you do.
Like you do.
So how did Owl House come about? I mean,
Oh yeah, it's so funny. People are like, did you know that your audition was like, did you know it was gonna be such a big deal? And I was like, no, you get so many auditions and I'd even done another pilot that didn't go anywhere. So you just like don't get your hopes up aggressively. So when I had the audition, I was like, this is a really cute character. These are great sides. Like whoever wrote this, it's so vivid. You know, sometimes with the characters, they're still in development, so you don't really know what they're looking for, you know, and they're not super specific, and so you're not sure where you can find your way in. But Luz, like the very first audition I had was actually like most of the first episode, like her doing her presentation and the Azura imitations.
Oh, yeah.
That was all like the eat this sucko, and it was all in my first audition, which is crazy. So then I got the call back and I was like, I love this, I want this. I'm not gonna get it, I'm no one. This is a Disney like show, they're gonna go with like a famous person. So I was just chilling. I'd like rushed over from the Apple store where I worked and I was just sitting in the lounge. I was like, I can't believe I'm here. This is so weird. I'm not gonna get this. And which is not what you should be telling yourself, friends. I was just exhausted. And then I went in the room and I was like, oh, I woke up. It was like a splash of cold water because there was like 9 people, which I didn't know because I guess for like the bigger things, there's a lot of people in the callback. Like a lot of the team was there and a lot of like producers. And so I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of people. Normally it's like 1 or 2 people in the room. So yeah, and then I was doing this crazy voice for Luz, and Dana was like, could you just do your normal voice? And I was like, no. So Luz is I like refused. I was like, no. So Luz is basically my normal voice, just like higher pitched. That's it.
well, at least it's easy for you there.
Luz Noceda. That's always my way of getting into character. I say like the character's name. I don't know why. Like, there's a Lugo Lopez.
Can you say that again?
Lugo Lopez. On Boss Baby, I'm trying to think.
Ah.
That's always what I think. I just like, I don't know.
So okay, so you're there and you're meeting all. So did you meet you're meeting the whole cast and crew and all that?
Not the cast. You almost
Okay.
never meet the other cast in voiceover stuff. I only met like Sissy at our first like rap party. She plays Lilith. And I only met like Alex, who plays Hootie and King, for the first time at like New York Comic Con. Like, really? Yeah, we were doing interviews together, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, that was my first moment meeting him. I met Wendy like 30 seconds before we went on stage for an interview.
So that's Wendy Malick, who voices Ida.
And she's the mom on BoJack Horseman and a million other things. Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever been starstruck meeting some of your own like?
Wendy! Oh my God,
Yeah,
Wendy! Yes! When she walked in the room, I almost like spit out my drink. I was and she just is like radiant. She's so cool and confident and like fashionable. She was in like this gorgeous little like 2-piece suit, and I was like, like I just bought this dress at Zara for $20 yesterday. I'm so like I'm not worthy. But you know, you fake it till you make it. You don't want to act weird, so you're like, oh hey.
Yeah, I
Nice
think
to
I know
meet
how that
you.
feels.
Yeah.
bringing the guests in, you know.
I'm
A
sure.
little bit, yeah. Gotta
Yeah, and you never,
Be cool.
yeah, you want to be cool. Yeah, to be the coolest version of yourself.
So Owl House hits big, and and of course, eventually the pandemic lightens up a little bit. You start being able to go to cons and
Yeah.
stuff. How was that for you, starting to like meet the fans and see that people were really into what
I
you're
think
doing?
I think it started on Instagram because I had like, before the show came out, they're like, you should make your, you know, like, what's your Instagram, what's your Twitter? And I was like, oh, I haven't gone on Twitter since Twitter came out. I don't even know what my Twitter is. So, like, and my Instagram, I was like, oh, it's all on private. And they're like, it should probably not be on private so people can follow you. And I was like, I don't want weird people following me. And they're like, this is your job, you should do this probably. And I was like, okay. So yeah, I went from like 97 Instagram followers, and now I have like thousands of thousands of thousands. And I was like, oh, people really like this show. And then they started getting like DMs of people telling me like how it changed their lives, and cameos, people telling me like how they related like to the loss and Luz's dad and all that. I was like, oh my goodness. And then I went to like my first con and people were like crying, and I was like, you watched the whole show? You know, like it's like still that imposter syndrome. You're like, you really like it? You like my character? Like, not just Wendy? So it was a really slow burn to learn, like, and it was funny, like my friends would watch it, but they didn't know it was me, you know, like, my husband was like playing D&D and his friend was like, oh yeah, did you see the new Owl House episode? I just watched it. And my husband was like, that's Nikki. Like, you don't know that? Like, that's her. He was like, what? And so that really like is really special to me when like, you know, my own like friends and family, like my niece loves the show. And that was like, you know, I want to do it all for her.
Well, not to fawn over you much, but or the show, but you know, Luz is one of those main characters who is, I think, much more interesting than the average protagonist.
Thank you. That's my view too. The protagonist is usually so boring. Like you always like their best friend better, you know?
Well, protagonists, I think, are usually intended to be ciphers. Somebody that the fan can just project themselves onto. And
Yes,
that's about
like
it.
Bella. Yeah.
Exactly. And Luz is more like somebody you just wish you were friends with. Or at least
I am so honored that you think that. No one wanted to be my friend, so. Now they did.
Okay, everyone who wants to be Sarah-Nicole's friend?
Thank you so much. I
Go away, Hootie. Nobody likes you.
Hey, come on.
Stupid birdworm.
We love Hootie.
Any interesting con stories yet? Any?
Oh my.
Uh-oh.
No. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, okay. This is a fun one. My first con, I tried to get in the VIP room and they didn't want to let me in. They're like, this is for VIPs. And I was like, that's my panel. All right, fine. I'll wait outside. So I was like waiting in the hallway for my panel to start. And I saw the fans were hosting their own panel, but they were in character as like King and Willow.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm gonna watch this. I just went and sat in the back by myself and like watched them, and that was so cool. That was very funny.
You know, I actually, just a little aside, I love how different Willow is from like from Tati's role,
Yes.
like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. You know, like from mean girl, witch bitch to.
You just reminded me. She's the only actor I've gotten to act with on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dana, like pre-pandemic, had an episode. I forget which episode we even did together, but she had us act in the same room, which almost never happens. I've done it on Boss Baby a few times, but that never happens. You never get to act with other people, so it was super cool. She had like just flown back in from Canada, and she's like, oh yeah, like I have to fly back out. I'm working on this like new Sabrina show. And I was like, I love Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I'll be watching. And then it comes out, yeah, and she's like the friggin' lead, and she's a bad guy. And I was like,
Satan.
my Willow? Like, no. And in real life, she's the nicest.
I believe it.
Nicest, like little like flower bud. It's
So
I didn't even intend for that.
So she's closer to Willow.
Yes. Oh yes. Yes, just like so sweet.
Any other little secrets from the cast and crew?
Secrets.
Hmm.
I don't know. Me and Sissy are really good friends. She's not a bad guy in real life.
I mean, she's not a bad guy in the show now either.
Yeah.
What about you and Dana? How did that friendship blossom?
Oh, I'm just obsessed with her. She's so cool. I just forced myself on her work. I was like, you want to hang out? What are you doing? Like, and I'm not saying like we're like, me and Sissy are really besties. I see Sissy at least once a week. Yeah, but Dana's awesome and she's cool and she's funny. You'd want to be her friend too, I promise.
So how about upcoming? Do you have any irons in the fire?
Yes, but that's the thing about animation. It takes years, so it's all NDA. I'm like, in 2 years we can talk about it when it comes out.
Well, that just means that everybody here knows that there will be something else of yours.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope we will always have more to talk about.
Any starring roles, prominent roles?
Prominent.
Good.
Prominent.
I like the teaser. That's nice.
No starring.
Hey, as you said, prominent is often the more interesting role.
Yeah, they're definitely interesting. They're definitely interesting.
Okay, well, you know what? I think it's getting on about time that we open up the floor to fan Q&A.
Yay! Oh, hey, we already talked. You do.
Raina, would you get up and do your thing?
Your first one there.
Well, okay. Lovely lady at the mic. Let's take your question.
Is...
Can we get the mic in front of the stage going? Go for it.
Is apple blood alcoholic or non-alcoholic? Because it was real hard getting eaten off the roof last time.
What do you think?
It's actually a good
I think
question.
it's the ice cream you have to worry about. Yeah.
Yeah, even Hootie was concerned at one point.
Yeah, I figured. Just in case. Oh, that's a funny con story. At my first con, no one knew who I was because the show wasn't out yet. And someone came to the mic and said as much. And they're like, I don't know who you are. And I was like, oh, I'll just go. Thank you for your time. And my best friend was in the audience and she's like screaming, laughing. Because she's like, why are you here? No one knows who you are. And I was like, I know, I said the same thing. Like, I'm happy to be here, but no one knew.
All right, let's have our next questioner. What you got?
First of all, thank you so much for coming. Big fan.
Thank you for having me.
So Owl House has certainly pushed the boundary between Luminee's relationship, mental health issues,
Yeah.
Villain who tries to commit mass genocide. Just what's your thoughts on pushing the boundaries with this show?
Oh, it's so cool. And it made it so fun to act. Like, probably like all of you, I was not having a great time during COVID. And so like when Emo Loose came about, I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I cannot be bubbly today. There are no bubbles. Like all the caffeine in the world isn't gonna get me there. So for me, it was nice. Representation-wise, I think it's awesome. I think these themes and stuff are really important to help people understand because not everyone grows up in the same neighborhoods, you know, like we don't understand. So getting to see these people be normal, you know, it's like, that is what's really important, you know, and to see how monsters are made is really important, you know, like people like Bellows exist and.
Yeah, and started out much more harmless.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to become a monster.
Yep.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Fun question.
I know, right?
Quality questions, people.
Our fans are not just the ones that are going just like, how'd you get into voice acting?
Yeah.
All right, next person.
Hi.
Hello, thank you for coming. I just wanted to say that starting out. So, given how, you know, the show started out very, like, kind of, it got progressively darker as the show went on.
Yeah.
So I just kind of wanted to know, like, how much of that did you know going in, and how much you didn't know, Dani didn't tell you, like, anything about how the story was going to unfold, or?
She would have. I told her I don't want to know because Luz doesn't know. I don't want to play at things like, that's not my job to know that. That's the director's job to know where things are leading, you know, and make them connect. It's my job to be like real in that moment. So like, I think it would be harder if I knew and I had to like block out that knowledge. You know, like it's harder to be like, okay, I know I die in the next scene, but pretend I don't know I die. I don't need that extra layer. It's better, it's easier to just be present. You know, that's like the privilege with this stuff. Like, I'm going along the journey with you guys too. Like, it's like my own little manga.
I never would have thought that. I don't have that kind of mental discipline, but that is really interesting.
Yeah. That's the hard thing, I think, when you're doing like on-camera stuff, like movies. Like sometimes you film, like I did a scary movie, and the first thing I filmed my first day was like my death scene.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I was like, I don't even know who this character is. Well, she's dead. I just gotta get.
So then you've got to spend the rest of the thing knowing that your character is going to be dead.
Yeah, well then it was like, trying to string it together. So, you know, the timelines get chopped up a lot of the time. So this is much easier in that respect.
What was this on-camera work you're talking about?
Oh, what's it called? It just came out. It's on Tubi. The Final Rose. It's like a spoof. It's like a very, very campy spoof. It's like The Bachelor in Paradise, but like slasher film.
Oh.
So it's on Tubi. It's free if y'all want to tune in. Sorry, I spoiled it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't know about you guys, but I got to see that. I love
It's
that idea.
campy. It's very, very silly. That was like my first acting since the pandemic too. Like on camera, I was so nervous. I was like, do I even know how to act anymore? It's not my best work, but it was a lot of fun, and I made a lot of friends.
All right, next question.
Oh, thank you, Sonia. Hello, Sarah. I have a question for a friend.
Okay.
She wants to know, what would you want your palisman to be if you run the boiling house?
Oh, I've been asked this before, so I think I want it to be like, you know, Toothless the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon. I will want like him.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
Okay,
Hello.
good question. I like that. Gets into the heart. All right, next up, what do you got?
Hi.
Hi, so the Owl House has touched so many people's lives, and just a question of what do you think the future, from a friend, what do you think the future of the Owl House will be, even after it ends? What do you think the future of it will be?
I think let's talk about what kind of influence you think it'll have going forward.
Oh, I mean, I hope it never dies. Like, I hope, I really, you know,
We'll make
I hope
sure
it's
it
something
never
that people are
dies.
still, like, binging in 5 years, 10 years. That would mean the world to me. But I hope it comes back in some iteration. Like, obviously, the Owl House is done, but, like, I hope we're not done with all of these characters or the world. It's just, like, so moving and vivid, so.
Yeah,
I'd come back. I'd come back for anything, I promise you that.
well, it'll never die in anybody, on one of us.
Oh, thank you. I love it.
I mean, look where you are. This is a group of folks that are still keeping Pony alive long after Friendship is Magic is over. I mean, these shows are important to people. We carry them in our hearts for, oftentimes our whole lives.
Yeah, I carry Steven Universe all the time.
Right? Give it up for Steven Universe,
Oh
absolutely.
my gosh, I love that show.
Okay, next question.
Hi, Nikki. Thanks for coming. The Owl House has been life-changing for me. But I also wanted to ask about your sister show. Do you have a favorite Amphibia episode?
Oh, one year we did a virtual crossover. Instead of Comic-Con, we did like a virtual little like panel, and we did do a crossover with Amphibia, and Luz and them all got to meet. That's my favorite. It was so fun. It was so cool.
I saw that. It was cool.
Yeah? Oh, thanks. It's cool for me. I got to meet Brenda Song. Virtually. I got to speak with her.
But who knows? Maybe one day we'll get an actual like full movie or episode.
That would be awesome.
I manifest that. Yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Nice shirt.
Thank you.
Some of them are sold out right now.
So, one scene that's been present from the concept art to the pilot to the actual show is the scene where Luz slaps Hunter. Whose idea was that, and how was that? Did somebody like really fight to have that scene in?
I don't know. That's not my market. I have no idea. That'd be like a Dana question because I'm not in the writers' room or anything.
He had a punchable face at first glance.
I agree. I did not like him. I was happy to.
At least
That's
he
one of the
got
big
better.
turns in the show, don't you think? Redeeming Hunter.
You know what? Yeah, I didn't know where any of the characters were gonna go. I didn't know if he was supposed to be like my brother or like a love interest when he first showed up, and I was like, he better not come between her and Amity. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lumity for what?
Everybody thought
Lumity for
Yeah.
life.
Anyone gets between Luz and Amity, we riot.
Yeah. I didn't even know Amity was supposed to be my love interest either for a long time.
Not at first, sure, yeah.
I thought it was gonna be Ed and M in that library episode. Yeah, because she's flirting with them both. And Luz gets so nervous every time they come around.
That makes sense.
And then when at the end of it, I was like, is she flirting with all three of them? They're siblings.
And
It's
also,
a love square.
Flapjack!
I screamed at Dana. You need to know that. I was like, you can't do this. And then she's like, it's already.
Say your prayers, Bella.
She was like, she gets sick pleasure. She was like, yeah. And Vessi was like, it should have been more gruesome. Vessi drew all that. And I was like,
She's the dark one.
she's like, people need to see this. Loss is real. And I was like, not him. Kill me. Not him.
Okay, so sorry to keep you waiting. Next question. What you got?
So, we've all seen the pilot and the creepy art style it had in the beginning. Do you think that if Disney allowed it to keep its creepy art style from the pilot, it would be just as good as the one we have now?
I don't know what you're talking about. The pilot looked just like this. The animation was the same.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
The story was a little different, but that's because it didn't start the season.
Like Hootie looked originally in his nightmare demonish form, and how the inside of the owl house looked more of like a witch's hut and less of a home away from home.
I don't think that was like a Disney, that wasn't like a censorship thing. That was just, it didn't, the story, they decided to tell the story differently. But I don't think the art style changed at all.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
Yeah, I don't know, you might be referring to some
a concept?
sometimes they do concept art,
Yeah,
but they do,
exactly.
there's like a million versions of Luz before they settled on one that they all like.
I do remember seeing some concept art that was certainly a bit darker,
Yeah.
Maybe. Much more
Yeah,
in
I mean,
keeping.
a lot of it's based on like Hieronymus Bosch and stuff like that. That
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
is dark. But this is still supposed to be like a cartoon.
Speaking of Basha, since my last question didn't make any sense, do you think Basha can be redeemed? Do you think that she can have a redemption arc, or is she just way too up in the clouds for her to ever come back down?
I think everyone can be redeemed. That is Luz.
That's hopeful. That's what Luke would say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Next up.
Hi, I like your shirt.
My name's Levi, so, we both have an L in our name, technically.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, Levi Luz. All right. My question is, what's your favorite Owl House episode and why?
I always get the name wrong. It's the one where we first meet V.
Yesterday's Lie.
Yesterday's Lie, yes. I always think it's like the Looking Glass one.
She's so sweet.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Before that, it was like the pilot. No, I think the second episode with the wizard.
Yeah.
I just feel like so much happens. It's like watching a whole movie, and I was like, that was how long? Like, that's crazy. So, yeah, and we meet V, and we get her whole backstory, and we get this weird witch hunter dude, and we get like Luz and her mom, and the rain thing, and this in-between realm. I thought it was so cool. That was my favorite, and I love the drama.
And I was glad to hear Michaela back because shapeshifter for Amethyst and I guess
Yes.
shapeshifter for V.
Oh my gosh, I never even thought of that.
Wait,
You're
you
right.
never?
No, and she was another one when I met her. I was totally starstruck.
Oh, really?
I'm such a big fan. I'm such a big Steven Universe fan. Yeah, and
Well,
she's
yeah.
the nicest.
I'll
So
say
cool.
I'm a bit starstruck even being here. I'm a big fan of your work as
Aw,
Luz.
Thank you.
And I'm sad that the show's coming to a conclusion, but
Me too.
but it's still gonna live on in my heart. Luz is an amazing character. She's actually my favorite character.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot of therapy after tonight.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are emotionally prepared.
I know. Speaking of changes, one of the things that
So all I
was
can say is,
hugely
let us pray.
impactful to me was
We got each other.
We got more context from Luz's mom about why she was acting the way she was for Luz. She was obviously a loving character, but a loving parent. But to see that, she was sort of visiting the generational trauma. I mean, from her own sort of pseudo.
I'm so glad you caught on to all that. Yeah, and that was one of my favorite things to record in the booth. All of those like vlogs that Luz is doing, like all the ages. that was a really fun like actor thing to do, but it was like so heartbreaking to see like when she did that last thing that like got her, you know, sent away to that camp. It was all to like make her mom like, you know, to show her how like well adjusted and how well she was doing.
Exactly, and also I think it helped the audience appreciate Camilla more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Camilla, like I thought that was really refreshing too, because like she's one of those characters you do want to know more about. You want to see more, like.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah, I'm delaying the questions further. Next
It's all
one.
good. Hi. So you mentioned before that you watched like a lot of old school cartoons, like Our Real Monsters, Rocko's Modern
Oh
Life.
yes, Animaniacs. I was a Sunday.
So my question is, what was the scariest thing you've ever seen in your childhood, whether it be from one of those shows or anywhere else?
In Dragon Ball Z, what's his name? The green dude who like kills everyone and like takes over.
Piccolo Cell?
Cell. I had nightmares. I had to stop watching it. Yeah, when he was like killing the whole world, I had like existential like grief, and I couldn't watch that show anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, and I really love Dragon Ball Z.
Nice.
I think you won't find much disagreement in this room. A lot of Dragon Ball V fans out there, right?
Yeah!
There you go. All right, who's next?
Who's next?
Do we have Otter with the Dark Side?
Yes, I love it. I have the same onesie.
I have to admit, I have the onesie.
Oh yeah, it's so comfortable too.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I live that thing. It's a oh, and I like your hoodie. Is that a hoodie scarf?
Yes.
Oh, I love. Sorry, the lights are like right behind you, so I can like. You're like
we're blind up
Yeah,
here.
it looks like you're speaking from heaven.
What's your question?
Hi, my name is Mooney Moon, and this is my friend Wolf. We only have 2 questions. The first question was, when you were working your hard work into putting the Owl House in your own way, how did you felt when you were told that it was going to be canceled, like completely?
Technically, we weren't canceled. It's an abbreviated season. I was devastated, and I was really surprised because, but you know, Disney's really good at what they do, if you didn't notice. And it's because of a lot of stuff like this. Like, there's a lot of metrics that you look at a show from. And unfortunately, like, you have to make a lot of these decisions it takes a long time. It takes about like 2 years door to door on an episode. So they made a lot of, like, I think that decision kind of happened before necessarily we understood our fan base and how large it was. I was really upset. One, because now I don't have a job, and 2, I can't, I don't get to continue making this wonderful art with this character I love to be in, and I don't get to see all my friends. So I was pretty devastated. Like, I cried a lot. I definitely talked about it a lot in therapy. It's just like grieving process, And I will tell you, the last episode that you're gonna see tonight, when I recorded it, that's maybe like one of the hardest I've ever cried in my life. So I had literally, I did one take of this one, line, and I thought I was holding it together. Like, I really thought I'd processed it, and I was like, I'm ready, this is fine. But it's very art meets life for part of it, and it was just so resonant to like what I was feeling inside me. I literally finished the line, and you know how sometimes you like start to get choked up, you're like, don't cry. I wasn't that. I literally like just started I went from 0 to like, and I was like, I had to turn around and like, just let it all out and like scream cry for like a minute, and then get back to work.
I'm not ready!
That's what I mean, I'm not. Like, I'm dreading tonight. I like don't want it to end. I want it to just like keep putting. That's why when they were like stretching out the episodes, everyone's like, oh my god, I can't wait. And I was like, I can. You can stretch it out another year. Like, I will happily keep waiting and pretend and be in denial.
All right, you had another question.
Yes.
What's number 2?
So the outfit for Grom, would you want it to go for Witch with the Dark Side or
Otter
Otter
with the Dark Side?
Oh, I love the Grom outfit, but I was rooting for Otter with the Dark Side because I wanted to see who's in it.
I want to thank you so much for everything you have done and for giving us the best fan base ever. My friend was the one that told me to watch Owl House, and for
Good
him,
taste.
I always thank him for it.
Oh, thank you so much. You all are so nice.
All right, we got a Wonderbolt here.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I wanted to ask, besides the
final episode,
Klingons attacking.
besides the final episode, what other episode that you recorded?
Sorry, speak up a little bit.
Besides the final episode, what other episode did you cry really hard while recording lines for?
The one I said, yesterday's live for sure. Like that I cried, not that hard, but it's definitely sad. I cried during when, like you're watching like the video blog of Luz, like her video diary.
Oh my
God, like talking about her dad dying. That made me cry for sure. I cry a lot though. I'm a crier.
Thank you so much. That was a really good question. All right, next person.
Hey, so, have you ever read these Owl House fan comics made by, I believe you might recognize the user, Morning Mark?
I have not. No. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm really scared of the internet. I try not to go. Things I don't want to see.
No, they're more like,
Good choice.
They're more like some of them are like alternate
I'm sure
scenarios,
they were.
and they really well known by the community, and some of them they were created around this entire time of the run, so some of them had ended up making predictions that are like like somewhat true, or then some of them are just like
impressive.
But truths, you should take a look at them. I believe you can find a lot of them on Reddit, or at least I know YouTube has several of them. You should be able to find them somewhere. They're awesome.
Maybe when I need an Owl House fix, I'll go. I'll do a deep dive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. I was wondering if you...
Get a little closer to the mic.
Yeah, get a little. Yeah, you see, I'm like eating it. They're a little quiet.
I was wondering if you had any part in the Chibiverse series too?
Oh yeah, that'll be
Oh, we'll have to see. It's up to Disney. Not up to me. I would love to be a part of anything that anyone wants to hire me for. And the Chibis are super adorable, and I know everyone's loving them.
So wait, what you're saying is working actor wants to work?
Yeah, working actor loves working. I love not being unemployed. My dogs live a very expensive lifestyle.
Oh, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next.
Hi.
Hello, I'm back again.
Welcome
So, given that this is a pony convention, what is your favorite MLP episode?
I don't know. It's probably one from like when I was a kid. Like, isn't there one where there's like a volcano or something?
Probably.
Eruption. It was really dark, so it's definitely from when I was a kid, like the first gen. I don't know the names. I don't even know the names of my own show, though, so I'm very sorry.
Oh wait, I think they're asking for Friendship is Magic. Any particular favorites from Friendship is Magic?
I think she was talking about Gen 1.
Yeah, I'm talking Gen 1. Yeah,
Right, you're
I don't
talking
know.
Gen 1, but I think the question was more about, like, Friendship is Magic. I mean, come on, Rainbow Dash fan, you gotta have something.
I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know. I don't watch it like that. Like, it's like when I watch Sailor Moon, I'm just like watching it all together. I don't even know if I could separate the episodes. I'm sorry.
No worries. Then I guess a different question then. What kind of dogs do you have?
Oh, okay. I have 2 dogs. They're both mutts. They're 2 years old. One is a cattle dog mix, and one is like a Cocker Spaniel, Pomeranian, Poodle, Chihuahua mix.
Yes.
They're supermodels. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see a lot of them. Yeah, I'm just constantly.
I will look, I'm sure they're adorable.
They're supermodels. Yeah, it's like I don't even know how they do it.
Thank you.
Because they're dogs. That's what dogs do.
All right, the auditor with a dark side came back.
What's up?
Yeah.
Did you have a wardrobe change? Now you have a hat?
Oh, yeah, all right. Did I talk to you? No, that wasn't the question though. Because my friend choked up halfway through the other question.
A little
I will-
closer to the mic.
That
little closer to the mic.
I can't stop looking at them.
Yeah, a little bit. We want to
I'm
hear
actually
you.
Puerto Rican, so I'm kind of pretty loud.
Me too.
Hey, it works.
Hey.
My friend wanted to know if you were secretly, or either way, rooting for New Amity before they actually made it a canon.
Were you hoping that you'd get together with Amity before it was confirmed?
Lumity?
Yeah, Lumity, yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Glamity.
I said Glamity. I think you pronounced it wrong. I'm terrible with
Oh,
words.
okay, yeah, I was like, I don't know who that is. Was I secretly rooting for them? Yeah, definitely. Because, you know, we thought Lumity was kind of like a bully in the beginning. Like, she was not nice. So I liked that, like, turnaround, you know, in that library episode. I thought it was, like, yeah, it made me, like Amity a lot more, you know, like, once she opened up a little and she started, like, standing up for herself and kind of, like, really being honest with herself. And for Luz, like, she's just such a cuddle bug. Like, she needs someone to love, you know, like, I wanted that for her. You know, like, I wanted her to have someone and have that partner. So, yeah, big time.
Okay, folks, thank you for the question. We are running low on time, but I think we can take these last two questions. Just a hair over. Thank you, AV people. We love you.
Thank you,
All right, go for it.
All right, hi again.
Hi.
Speaking of Amity, I know Luz and Amity have a very strong relationship. Have you made any fond memories with Mae Whitman, Amity's voice actress?
Oh yeah, I was super starstruck when I met her too. I've been watching her since like Arrested Development, like when she was a kid.
Her?
What?
Her?
Yeah.
Her?
Egg.
Egg, yes, exactly.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, it's
Plant.
Egg. She's so cool. Yeah, I only met her once at this year's New York Comic Con. I was totally starstruck. The first thing she did was like throw her arms around me and hug me, and I was like, yeah, a very loose moment. So
Roxy Richter hugged you?
I could not. She's the nicest, as I'm saying. She's so nice.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, now
I didn't even know she was Katara. How stupid am I? I was saying, like, I was just coincidentally talking about how much I love Avatar, and like I love Legends of Korra, and I want to name my child Korra, and I was just like talking about that, and someone was like, they're like, yo, chill, you know, May's in it. And I was like, who is she? Like, I'm the worst. I'm the worst sometimes. I'm such an idiot. Like, sometimes when I watch TV, I turn off all my actor brain, and I'm just like,
oh, you get to be a fan sometimes.
Yeah.
I kind of felt that same way when I figured out that she also voiced April O'Neil in the 2012 version.
Like, what hasn't she done? That's what I'm saying. Like, how does she sleep?
She's everywhere.
Everywhere, always, and it's all good.
I know.
Yeah, she's got a new thing out too. Make sure you're watching it.
Oh, what's the new thing?
Yeah, it's like it's on Hulu. It's like a musical thing. You saw it?
Right. The
Is it a movie or a show? I don't know.
I don't know either, but I've heard it's good.
Yeah, I really want to watch it. It's on my up next when I get home on Monday.
Just hop on Hulu, y'all.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess the final question here is, did you notice any of the hidden messages throughout the show?
I'm such an idiot. No.
Don't worry.
What? Fans are asking me, I was like, what are you talking about?
Don't worry, I didn't even notice it either until people, pointed out on YouTube or the internet.
Yeah. You guys, you're so smart. Like, the stuff you notice, I never, and Sissy notices some of it, the actor who plays Lilith, and she'll point them out to me. And Rebecca notices everything. Rebecca Rose, she's the smartest.
Oh my God, Rebecca Rose.
Yeah, shout out to Rebecca. Constantly, I'm like, how does it all go in your brain? Like, how does it all fit? No, I didn't. And it's so cool. Our team's so smart. There's like a million Easter eggs everywhere.
I know,
Did you see the amphibia, the little amphibia?
Yeah, and Remy.
Yeah,
there was also
to our friends.
Remy in Hunter's room.
Yes, in the basement, yeah.
Big City
All right,
Greens.
everyone.
All right.
That's it.
You have all been fantastic.
Thank you, you're all so fun. Such a energetic, enthusiastic, awesome audience. Thank you.
And I want to thank all of you so much for welcoming our envoy to Equestria.
Thank you. I cannot believe you want to be here. I'm so honored.
You got give yourselves a round of applause. I know it's cheesy, but do it. And give a round of applause to Sarah-Nicole Robles.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you for all the cosplay. I'm so honored.
And of course, be sure to get to the Renegade Stage Room, Cypress A, up on the atrium level, 7 o'clock. Don't.
I'm not gonna lie, I might have to leave. I don't know if I can watch it.
We'll be watching that with Nikki. We'll be no, Nikki.
I'll come back at the end. I just might need to emotionally dip, but.
And she'll do a little Q&A after the
Yeah,
the
I
episode.
promise. I'll be there for that.
Yeah.
You don't. I'm an ugly crier.
It's okay.
And I cry when I see other people cry, so we're just gonna be like.
All right, we'll make sure your handler has a whole box of Kleenex for you.
I might, or I'm just gonna try and emotionally shut myself down, like become to go full robot.
It's gonna take more than one tissue box.
That's what I mean. Oh my god. They better have lotion. I need the Puffs Plus lotion. I'll tap my little nose.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoy your time.
Thank you to the